Welcome to the third class and final class for talking through how we can build reactive documents within Mithril. To recap what we actually want to do, let's have a look at the Tangle document again. So when we look at the Tangle document, if you move these up and down, you can see that the number of cookies and this particular bit changes dynamically. So we're going to try to do something similar. Alright, so in the last class we got this far. We added a range slider, or input equals range, and we can move it up and down. And you can see that this changes dynamically. So the very last question is, well, how do we leave or reference this particular value that has been created in a different function or some other way of how we can display this information down here? But before we do that, let's go and actually copy what has been done in the cookie example, just so that we have a point of reference so we know what we're building. So let's start off with, if you go and you can see that the lowest value is a 2 and the highest value is a 100 cookies. So let's modify the values to be exactly the same as that. And you can see that the number of cookies changed by 1. Okay, it's coming down here. The minimum is always 2 cookies, the maximum is 100, the step size is 1, and now the starting value that they had on the website was 2. Okay, so let's just double check. The lowest is 2 cookies and the maximum is 100. So now when I move the slider, it should go from 2 to 100. Very, very useful and very, very good. Now to change the values, let's make it look more like a reactive document. So range slider doesn't really do what we want. Instead, I believe the site said something like when or if. Let's just copy it. When you eat 2 cookies. So when you eat cookies, you consume 100 calories. You consume 100 calories. Okay, let's start with that for now. Alright, so when you eat 2 cookies, you consume 100 calories. So this is correct right now, but if we move the slider, we obviously don't get anything changing because this value of 100 is hard-coded. So how do we get something to react to this form input change and dynamically alter this? Now, one reason why I did this within the Mithril framework is because this is given to us basically for free. And to demonstrate why, let's firstly create a cookie calorie counter function. Now, we have this cookie calorie counter function because it's given here. This stock calories equals this cookie times 50, and it's like update. So I am going to call or create this function. And I'm going to call this cookie calculator function cookies return cookies times 50, right? Because that's how it was defined here. This cookie times 50. Okay. So what do we do from here? Now, this is fairly easy and straightforward because you can see that right now when we move when we move the slider, the value of val dynamically changes. So all we need to do, in fact, to create a reactive document is to change this so that this references the function correctly. So if we change this to cookie calculator, hopefully this will work as we intend. So when you eat 2 cookies, you consume 100 calories. So now we can see if we increase it, it will react to precisely what we have. So there you have it. We have reproduced our first reactive document. Now there's a lot of UX things that we have to consider here, and a lot of things that we need to think about in terms of how we extend this. I'm going to leave that for another class because I believe that there's a lot of advanced topics that we can talk about that form part of the reactive documents ideal, which was outlined in Tangle and a whole bunch of other places, including, well, what do you do about graphs? What do you do about 2D input? And I'm going to leave that for now because I believe that this introduction will serve as a good point to introduce some of the key concepts and my view of how we can build a lot of these things out, including the way how you structure documents where you have a static and dynamic component. Thanks for viewing this whole course. I hope you learned something new in terms of how you can build reactive documents, and also learning that you don't even have to rely on Node